Do you struggle with going to sleep or staying asleep when your heart is troubled? You know, a lot of things are happening right now, and my heart is actually feeling the weight of all that is happening in my personal life and in the world. Maybe your heart is feeling the same. And for some of us, when our hearts are feeling that pressure, sleep is actually one of the things that get affected. It's hard for us to stay asleep. It's hard for us to go to bed. And usually at this point, a lot of us turn to different things. I will tell you that there are times that when I wake up in the middle of the night, what I'm doing is trying to listen to an audiobook. Sometimes I try to pray. Sometimes I try to read the Bible. And in extreme cases, I can decide to watch a movie. But I did something yesterday that really, really helped me. Actually, this morning. And I want to share that with you. You see, I woke up around 3:30 a.m. and I found out that my mind was awake. I couldn't sleep back. And I decided, I'm going to get out of bed, going to go to the living room, and I'm going to worship God. And that's what I did. So I went with my phone. I had my earphones on. I did not want to wake anybody up, but I knew that I was ready for something intense. So I went to my intense worship leader, Bukola Bekes from Nigeria, and I decided to listen to one of our worship services. There is something that gets me when I hear someone talk about God. And she starts to talk about God's power and holiness, talks about his strength, the fact that he is the one who created the world and he's the one that holds the world together, and he cannot be questioned. And she's talking about this greatness, which I know is true, but so many times I act like I don't know, especially in seasons of stress. It's almost like what you know about God flies out of the window, because you don't see it in your experience. But God is still working. Now, as I continue to worship God, I tell you, I did it for 90 minutes, an hour and a half. So that was between 4 and 5:30 this morning. I went from really, really dancing to lifting up my hands, to running around the living room, to going on my knees and crying and sobbing. A lot was happening in those moments. I was laying down my fears and my doubts, and those were hard to do. I was laying down my worries, the things that were heavy on my heart. I was praying and interceding for my friends. I was interceding for my clients. I was interceding for our world. My world. And the best part of that moment was, it was a time of worship to God, but it was a time where I was able to lay down my burdens. It was very refreshing, I tell you. You need to do something like that. Can you find time? Usually, if you're like me and you struggle to go to bed or you struggle to stay asleep, instead of watching a movie, why don't you get up? Why don't you get to a place where you know you won't wake anybody up and listen to those songs that inspire your heart? I'm going to put a link to the worship song that I listened to below so that maybe it's something that you might like. And just stay there. Don't rush. This is not the 5 minutes, just listen to a 5-minute song and rush away. This is the time where you're wrestling with those things that are challenging you. You see, God is not afraid of anything we bring to him. He's not going to shun us. He's not going to say, go, what do you mean? He already knows the struggles. So it's a place where you're like, God, I need you to help me to see things the way you want me to see them. In the Bible, you would see many times where God actually told his children, the children of Israel, to go to war with praise and with worship. There were times he would say the priests should line up before the army and worship. And that's how they won some of their battles. With the priests in front, with the women with their tambourines and worship, they won major wars. Now, in our world or in your world, do you feel like you're in a war that you don't even know how to win? You don't have the instruments, or you don't have the right strategies? I tell you, praise and worship is a strategy that the gates of hell has not known yet how to conquer. Up till now, the enemy cannot conquer a worshiper. Why? Because when you're worshiping, there is someone who is standing for you, and that is God. God himself, in all of his power and in all of who he is, comes to stand for you. What happened when I worshiped God? My mind was renewed. The stress was lifted. I felt empowered. I felt bold and strong. I felt like someone was in charge. I felt peaceful. I eventually went to bed and started my day, and I was a little bit sluggish just because I didn't sleep well, but not my mind. Even while things were coming from the outside, I just knew, I had a knowing all through the day that God was in charge no matter what was coming around. It is good for you to have that too, that no matter what's coming around, you just are grounded in knowing that God is in charge. And then you're even able to engage better. You're able to see opportunities where you can really lift your voice. You're able to see where you're supposed to charge ahead. You're able to know when you're supposed to retreat and get grounded. I am hoping that you get to do this. Let me know how it goes for you, because when you worship, what happens is that it's not just your mind that is being transformed. God is actually fighting for you. He is. He does fight for us.